Get this question right and you'll be ready to ace your MCAT.
Each of the following molecules can be converted to oxaloacetate by a single enzymatic reaction except. So let's take a look at the first one. In glycolysis, the final reaction is phosphoenolpyruvate to pyruvate. And when we do gluconeogenesis, essentially we're going backwards. However, we cannot go directly back to PEP. So what actually happens is we go to oxaloacetate and then back to PEP. And this process occurs through pyruvate carboxylase. So this does by one single enzyme, so A is not going to be your answer. Next, we have malate, right? Malate and oxaloacetate are both intermediates in the citric acid cycle or the TCA cycle, and it just so happens that malate directly becomes oxaloacetate through malate dehydrogenase. And when we have a dehydrogenase, we're going to be reducing one of these electron carriers, and in this case, it's going to be NAD plus to NADH. But regardless, B is not going to be your answer because it also occurs by a single reaction. Now, those might have been easy, but C and D might be a little more tricky. Quick MCAT tip is that, look at this, right? Oxaloacetate is a complex molecule with a bunch of carbonyls, right? And carboxylic acids and all that stuff. Now, if we're talking about a single enzymatic reaction, let's think about the side chains, right? Alanine side chain is literally just a CH3. Now, aspartate, on the other hand, has a side chain of like this, right? So maybe alanine could become oxaloacetate, but we're talking about a single enzymatic reaction. It's most likely going to be something more complex like this. And C will be your answer. However, I'm going to take this a step further, as always, and kind of explain this process because y'all might not be familiar with it. So essentially, the idea is that we have this reaction where we go from aspartate to oxaloacetate, but on the other side, we're going to have alpha ketoglutarate from the citric acid cycle. It's going to come in and end up as glutamate. Now, by looking at this, you might not understand what's going on, so I'm going to draw the structures for them now. Take a look here. Let's look at what changed. We're essentially having aspartate become oxaloacetate and alpha ketoglutarate becoming glutamate, but they're kind of working together, right? Look at what changed. We had an amine right here, and it became this ketone, right? But where did these come from, or where did they go? Let's look at this. We started with a ketone right here, and we ended up with this amine. So these have the same length of carbons, and so do these, but they're switching their groups, right? They're switching their amines into ketones. And so this reaction is catalyzed by aspartate transaminase, right? Transaminase, and aminase just means amine. And this is amine, it's like a transfer of amine switching for ketones. So once again, that's why D is incorrect, and C will be your answer.